Hello again, everyone. Terry Earthwind over at Consortium, and I have Kon Apostolopoulos with us. And welcome, Kon. I'm glad you come by.
Thank you for having me, Terry. It's an honor to be here.
Well, I'm excited about what you're going to talk about today. I believe it's your new book, and that's exciting. So let's do the famous question. So, Kon, what are you doing?
Well, thank you for asking, and thank you for the question. Yes, yeah, I'd love to talk about the new book today. I'd love the opportunity to kind of share a message with your audience today and talk about 7 keys to navigating a crisis. It's a book that I wrote recently with a partner of mine, Dr. Ilya Gurguris, and we had the opportunity to kind of communicate a message at a time when it's really, really needed. He approached me mid-March at the height of the pandemic and said, we need to write a book. We need to help people. And since we couldn't cook enough for everybody else, we figured that why not offer our expertise? For the last 25 years or so, I've been involved with change management, performance improvement. He has a background from a clinical psychology standpoint, and the two of us together figured that let's help people deal with this unexpected change, with this crisis. Terry, if you didn't realize it, crisis is actually a Greek word. Back in the ancient times, the Greeks thought that crisis represented a judgment or a test from their gods, something that they had to overcome and deal with. Well, today, what we're dealing with are actually 4 crises that are compounding each other. We have the COVID-19 that we're all dealing with and the pandemic fatigue that we're dealing with right now. We're all also feeling the pinch of the economic crisis. So many people being unemployed and impacted by this, businesses being impacted by it. There is also a mounting mental health crisis that we're dealing with. In the first 2 months alone, the pandemic hasn't just tired us out, it's created a lot of mental health issues. And reports are noting about 800% increase in mental health issues being reported. And these are not people that have chronic issues. These are people that are reporting new issues. So from that perspective, if you compound on that, the socioeconomic issues that we have, the racial issues that we're having right now, right there, we have all of these different crises happening all at once. Well, people internally, we have like a sponge inside us. We can absorb change up to a certain rate. But what happens with that sponge when that sponge gets saturated with one crisis on top of another? You're pouring more and more and more water onto that sponge. At some point, it can't cope anymore. It can't hold that water anymore, and it starts getting oversaturated. Well, our response to that was the book 7 Keys to Navigating a Crisis. So we want to help people, individuals, in a very, very practical way. That's the way we wrote it, to be able to essentially deal with that. So we introduce certain concepts in here. We tell them, first and foremost, look around you. Understand what's danger and what's fear. Don't let fear paralyze you, but rather look at the danger that is happening around you in that crisis moment and try to deal with it. And we introduce the 7 keys to that process. The first key is self-care and looking at it and saying, hey, how am I feeling? How am I doing right now, mentally, physically, spiritually? Am I trying to avoid things in this process? The second key is awareness. Listen to yourself. Understand, what am my emotional state? Most of us respond in very different ways. Sometimes we respond like a victim, where we say, why is this happening to me? Oh, I'm losing my vacation. Why is this happening to me? The second thing is we might respond as a critic. And in that moment, we look at it and say, why should I wear my mask? That's a stupid idea. Or why is that person wearing their mask? Are they trying to kill me? The third response might be as a bystander, as somebody who passively is looking around and saying, I don't know what to do. And then the fourth one is the navigator. Well, the navigator is the one that tries to look around and takes care of themselves through self-care, is aware of their surroundings, what's happening, is flexible in the moment, which is the third key, and trying to adapt to that reality. Then they prepare because they understand that more things are happening. The next key after that, the fifth one, is looking at it and saying, I need to take action, taking some control back. A navigator is able to kind of harness what they can control and try to deal with things. And a navigator also, the sixth key, is having a positive attitude about things that are happening. And then finally, being kind, showing kindness to others. Because the minute you start stepping outside of yourself and realizing others are in a worse situation than me, that's when you start getting out of your own head, Terry. and those in a snapshot of the 7 keys that we talk about.
Wow. 7 keys, ladies and gentlemen. That's a great book. We'll have that available here in the comments section when this comes out. Kon, thanks a lot for coming by.
Thanks for having me, Terry.
Evolutionary, eve of illumination, healer, to end suffering, to start anew. Evolutionary Healer, LLC.